What's going on, guys? Today I'm talking about the main stage panels for New York Comic Con. But before I get into that, people often ask, what time should I get there? If you're just checking out the show, you really don't have an agenda, get there at like 11 o'clock. You'll go right through security, you'll get your badge scanned, and you'll walk right through the front door. But the general rule of New York Comic Con is if you want to see something, do something, buy something, the earlier you get there, the better. I'm a guy who likes to buy New York Comic Con exclusives. So I get to the Jacob Javits Center at 8 o'clock in the morning. I can tell you with much confidence, if you get there at that time, you'll have no problem getting to any one of the main stage panels. So to get into the main stage panels, it's very simple. All you have to do is wait online, get your badge scanned, and it reserves your spot. Or you can enter the New York Comic Con lottery, and if you win, you can skip that whole step. It automatically reserves your spot, and you don't have to wait online in the morning. I just want to break down how it works in the morning, usually around 8:15, 8:30. What they do is they start bringing people into the Javits Center and they bring you downstairs into this massive room. It's called Q Hall 1C, which coincidentally is the room you have to go to get your badge scan for the panel anyway. Once that Q Hall fills up, they start lining people outside. And the good thing about being downstairs, New York Comic Con does take place in October. So depending on the weather, at least you're inside. There's no place to sit. You're going to have to sit on the floor, but at least you're not outside in the cold or the rain. Now, regardless of what time you get there, you still have to go to Q Hall 1C to get your badge scanned. And to the left is going to be the lines for the main stage panels. To the right is going to be the lines to get onto the show floor. Now, each segment is going to be divided up by these metal poles that make up lanes or rows, or as New York Comic Con likes to call them, chutes. When you get there, you're going to walk up the middle of the Q Hall, and there's going to be bins with free lanyards, bins with free shopping bags, and there's going to be staff members handing out programs for the con. When you get to the back of the room, you're going to see a big dry eraser board, and it's going to have all the panels that are listed for that day, and they're going to be numbered. You find your panel, find the number, and then you look over, you're going to see that all the lanes or chutes or rows or whatever you want to call them, they'll be numbered too, and all you're going to do is get on the back of the line. So guys, when it comes to the main stage panels, you kind of want to use your own judgment. Some panels are more popular than others, and they'll cap out very fast. Also, you want to prioritize anything else that you're trying to get done throughout the day. If you have a photo op with a celebrity early in the morning, or you're trying to buy a New York Comic Con exclusive. The reason why I bring that up, New York Comic Con starts at 10 o'clock, but they start letting people onto the show floor at around 9:45, 9:50. Now, this is a great tip for you guys that are trying to buy a New York Comic Con exclusive. The vendors will still be setting up shop. They won't be open up just yet, but you can make your way over to the booth and get yourself online. I'm going to be making a video with more tips on how to get a New York Comic Con exclusive. Also some tips on how you can shop at the Funko booth without winning the lottery. All right, so again, this is where things can get dicey for you if you're on that main stage panel. They don't start letting you in until that show floor line starts to thin out a little bit. Once it does, they'll start scanning your badges. And once your badge is scanned, your spot is reserved, you're good to go. You can go out to the show floor. If you want to go to a second, third, fourth, fifth panel, you're just going to go to the back of the room and you're going to rinse and repeat. When you're ready for your panel to start, you're going to make your way back downstairs to Q Hall 1C. You want to get there about 15 minutes before it starts. And you'll see on the south side, on the far end of the room, is the entrance to main stage 1D, which is where all the main stage panels take place. You'll queue up. When they're ready to let you in, they'll scan your badge. If you didn't get your badge scanned earlier, it's going to come up invalid, and they're not going to let you in. Seats for the main stage panel are first come, first serve. So if you're one of those people that likes to be in the thick of the action and you want to be in the front row, you might want to try and get there a little bit earlier. When the panel is over, they clear the room, they kick everybody out so they can set up for the next panel. You can't hang out there, even if you got your badge scanned for the next one. If a main stage panel is capped, I do have a tip on how you can still get in. Just show up 15 minutes before the panel starts and find a staff member and just politely ask them if there's a standby line. If there is, they're going to put you off to the side. And once they start letting people in, a couple of minutes before the panel starts, they have, a little counter on their scanner that shows them 50 people didn't show up for whatever reason. So they'll just grab the first 50 people off the standby line and you'll be able to get in. Before I start talking about the off-site panels at Madison Square Garden and the Hammerstein Ballroom, there are smaller panels that take place at the Jacob Javits Center. You just go to NewYorkComicCon.com and let's say there's a panel on how to become a professional cosplayer, and it's in room 1A-OB. If you see a room that has a number and a letter, that means it takes place in a conference room, and all the conference rooms are located in the same basement level as Q Hall 1C and main stage 1D. So just check out the show floor map and kind of get your bearings of where these conference rooms are, because it can get a little confusing. Those panels, you don't have to get your badge scanned. Those are first come, first serve. So again, use your own judgment. You know how popular some things will be. You might want to show up a half an hour before it starts and see if there's a line starting to form. And then from there, you can decide if you want to get online or come back a little bit later. All right, so let's talk about the off-site panels at Madison Square Garden, the Hammerstein Ballroom, and I think they have some at the Hudson Mercantile Center and the Brooklyn Brewery. The biggest mistake that people make about the off-site venues, they think they have to go to the Jacob Javits Center and get their badge scanned. You don't. As long as you have a valid badge for that day, you can just go straight to the venue. Again, those are first come, first serve. So use your judgment, get there a little bit early just to check out the scene and what it's all about. The difference with those off-site panels, though, is that when the panel is over, they don't clear the room. So people will hang out all day and watch these panels. There's always a big Walking Dead panel at Madison Square Garden over the weekend, and people literally will get there early in the morning and spend the entire day there. Big misconception about the panels at Madison Square Garden is a lot of people think that it takes place in the arena, which is a 19,000 seat arena. And actually, the panels take place at the theater at Madison Square Garden. Madison Square Garden actually has a theater underneath the stadium, and it only holds 5,000 people. You also want to download the New York Comic Con app because it will give you updates. It will tell you the Walking Dead panel at Madison Square Garden is 50% full. Common misconception about the Hammerstein. A lot of people ask, well, what is the Hammerstein Ballroom and what is the Manhattan Center? The official name for Hammerstein is the Hammerstein Ballroom at the Manhattan Center. It's the same place. Also, guys, keep in mind, Jacob Javits Center is about a good 15-20 minute walk to the Hammerstein Ballroom. Madison Square Garden is right around the corner. So just make sure you're checking your watch so that way you don't show up to the panel late. Guys, if you do make your way down to Q Hall 1C early in the morning, I mentioned those metal poles that divide up the lanes and rows or whatever. Every 5 minutes, someone is going to knock one of those over. It makes a really loud noise, and everyone throws their fists in the air and cheers. I don't know why we do it, but it's a New York Comic Con tradition. What is going on with my arms right now? It's pretty much all I got for the main stage panels at New York Comic Con. If you have any questions, put them in the comments. I do just want to say that all this information I'm giving you is how everything went down last year. So if they change things up this year, please don't get mad at me. I'm just trying to give you a heads up on how everything works. The reason why I bring it up, I made a video on how to activate your badge, and they've added some steps, pretty self-explanatory, but you know, things do change. I got a couple more videos left in my How to Do New York Comic Con series. Again, tips on how you can buy a New York Comic Con exclusive, how you can get some stuff from the Funko booth without winning the lottery, and a bunch of random other things.